So we all know the internet is full of Twitch advice, Twitch gurus, and they're pretty much all saying the same thing. But I was someone that streamed on Twitch for 7 years. I left it about a month ago as a creator, and I just want to share some things that I wish I knew at the beginning of me being a Twitch streamer. And I think that the things I have to say are things that none of the gurus or Twitch advice people are really sharing. The first lesson was I needed to have the strongest level of discernment ever. I was very naive when I came on Twitch. I was about 25 years old. It was my first time really being on the internet and being in communities and around different types of people from all around the world. So I assumed everybody was nice and cool and honest and transparent and a good person because that's what I was used to being around in my little area. That is not the case. And I think the biggest thing I really needed discernment with was following Twitch advice. Like, there was a lot of good free advice that I followed, but I also paid for advice. Now, I will say, I will shout out Streamer Square. Absolutely love them. I had a one-on-one meeting with them. I was in their premium plan for a little while, and they literally are the reason why I had my viral video on TikTok. I love Streamer Square. Highly recommend them. And that's the only Twitch advice that I paid for that I actually liked. I paid another person and that was just terrible. And honestly, I look back at that situation and I'm like, if I had had the discernment that I have right now, I never would have fallen for that stuff. So if you have people that are sweet talkers and it sounds like they know what they're talking about, look more into them. Don't just believe people at face value. Really ask hard questions because people that are actually being honest and transparent and know what they're talking about will have the answers for you. If you ask somebody some hard questions and they get defensive, that kind of tells you what you need to know about them. And then another way my lack of discernment really showed up was me staying in communities where I wasn't really welcome. People didn't like me in the communities that I was a part of. Like, yeah, I was a little bit annoying because I was young. And again, I didn't really know how to interact with people online. But now looking back, it's like, wow, there are a lot of places that I stayed at for far too long. The second lesson that I wish I knew when I started Twitch was that Twitch is not the end all be all. Like, live streaming is not something that everybody is supposed to be doing. Because now that I've been creating content and not streaming anymore, I've been far happier. And while 7 years ago, that version of me would not have been ready to be on YouTube, knowing now, but you know what? No. I knew when I started streaming that I didn't really enjoy the process of streaming. I didn't like having to have a schedule. I didn't like having to network. I didn't like feeling like I had to sit in other people's channels and talk to them if I wanted any chance of growth. Like, all the background stuff that you have to do for streaming was just things that did not resonate with me. And I knew that I never wanted to be a big streamer. I knew I never wanted Twitch partner. So it kind of gets to the point where it's like, okay, why am I doing this? And I was doing it for fun. So whatever you decide to do, whether it be Twitch or content creation or both, make sure you are enjoying the process. Make sure you're enjoying the process of getting better. Make sure you love setting your goals and hitting your goals. And just make sure you're having fun at the end of the day. We shouldn't be doing something in our free time that is making us miserable. We are worth far more than that. And it took me 7 years to realize that. The third and final lesson is the hardest one, but just because you put a lot of work, time, money, effort into Twitch does not mean you are going to succeed. Streaming is not one of these things like working out where if you put all your time, all your effort, all your money into it, you're going to see some type of success. Just because you're putting time and effort into it does not mean you're entitled to views or success. In my opinion, any activity that you're doing that requires other people's participation, there's only so much you can do and so much you have in your control. There comes to a point where you can't do anything. Now it's up to people to decide, oh, I'm gonna give this person a chance. And as we all know, Twitch's discoverability is non-existent basically, which means it's atrocious. So it's like, unless you're doing all the extra things that you need to be doing, you most likely won't even be seen by anybody. And as someone who has a very strong work ethic, I could not understand this concept. I was like, I'm putting all this work, all the work that I could put up to Twitch, because I mean, if you look back at what I was doing, it's like, girl, you weren't really doing anything. But for me and my bandwidth, it was a lot. And that's something else we need to remember. Everybody's bandwidth is different. So just because it looks like someone isn't doing a lot, that might be all they can give to streaming. Now, does putting more work into it mean that it increases your likelihood of success? Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I never found success on Twitch. And I think that this lesson is really important to include in this video, because I want people that have a strong work ethic and are putting a lot of time and effort into Twitch and not getting anywhere to understand that the amount of work you put into it, it doesn't directly correlate to how much success you're gonna get. I wish it did, but it doesn't, unfortunately. There are a lot more aspects, that some of which are out of your control, some of which are in your control, but are gonna stretch your bandwidth, that really contribute to how successful you will be. So those are my 3 lessons that I wish I knew before I started Twitch. And if you are now thinking in your head, is streaming any for me? Be sure to watch this video right here.